There's a really good chance you know your way around the Volkswagen ID.3 by now. It's been on sale for quite a few years, but I think the GTX is the only version worth buying in 2025. And in this video, I'll tell you why. Welcome to Nobby on Cars. It's true, you can pick up an ID.3 for just over €33,000 now, but this version, with matrix headlights, 326 brake horsepower, rear wheel drive, nicer interior, nicer alloys, and faster charging, is €39,000. Even in the King's Red colour, which is gorgeous. Now this car has upgraded wheels as well. They're the only two extras. Everything else you see on this ID.3 GTX is standard. So there's GTX badges on the side. There's a black two-tone roof. The alloys are obviously black. Some people love them, some people don't like them. These are 20-inch on the Bridgestone rubber. And the boot, still a small boot, 385 litres. It seems mad, but once upon a time, the larger battery was just a two-seater in the back. So it was a four-seater in total. Now you get a 79 kilowatt hour battery usable with a range of up to 600 kilometers. I've been doing 16 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers around the city, and I've been doing 17, 18 on the motorway. It is nice summertime temperatures, it has to be said. More benefits of the GTX include the seats. There's red piping on the side, GTX steering wheel, as I mentioned, 185 kilowatt charging on DC, and you can optimize the battery by pre-programming it in to get to that faster temperature charging speed at your charging destination. You can do it either manually or you can do it within the inbuilt nav in the car. Some of the interior fit and finish has definitely improved. It's been like that for the last couple of years. Haptic buttons still staying, unfortunately. The gear selector has now moved from the side of the driver instrument display to down here. This is the GTX performance version. There is a GTX version also, so there are some subtle differences. This car gets dynamic chassis control as standard, and I'm always saying it transforms the car, and it does. It means you can have a fairly spirited drive in this. It still is a two-ton car effectively, but it adds a little bit more fun to the sporty feeling of it. This, although it is a GTX, is not all-wheel drive. Other GTX models in the Volkswagen lineup are all-wheel drive, so just make that clear. The annoying buttons remain for the windows, the rear windows and all that, but overall it is a nicer package than maybe an ID.3 you've sat in the past. Let's start with some of the negative stuff. I hate the way if you put on individual mode where you can tweak the suspension, it restarts every time in comfort, which is a little bit frustrating. There's just a B mode, so there's no one pedal driving. That bit hasn't changed in the car. And if you're really being specifically fussy, the Born VZ is a little bit better to drive. There's just some extra secret magic sauce that they have put in there. Don't know what it is, but it works. But for some people, they like the slightly more subtle King's Red and the less radical styling of the ID.3, and I understand that also. Will the residuals be slightly better on the Volkswagen? I really don't know. Electric cars, they're a bit of an unknown entity over the last few years. So let me pop it into individual mode. I've got it sprung as tight as it can go. And there's a small bit of pitch when you floor it. The 326 brake horsepower to the rear wheels, it is extremely fast. One thing I will definitely say is that even with this rear wheel drive bias, the car doesn't really step out. I found the Born a little bit more tail happy. You'd probably have to turn your ESC off on this car to get it to even remotely misbehave. So is the Born perhaps a little bit more fun to drive? Again, maybe it has the slight edge. But this thing can shift. My God, it can shift. And what I love about the DCC is 1 minute you want it firm, the next minute you want it soft because you're not in the mood, and you can just flick that around. Same way as you can flick the car. So the back didn't stick out at all. The light just kept flashing. The traction was holding on to what I was doing for dear life. It could probably be a little bit more fun in that respect. Can you compare this car to a Golf or a GTI or a Club Sport? Absolutely not, and those that do are absolutely insane. However, when you look at the 39 odd grand price, when you look at the fact that you can charge this at home for so little, For example, I have a very fancy Ohmi charger at home. I can just dial it up in the app, tell me how much I want it to charge overnight, and it'll tell you how much it costs, and it really is peanuts. Peanuts. So while, no, you can't compare, you can definitely do some man maths and say, well, it's so cheap to run, isn't it? 11 AC charger on board also, which means it's reasonably fast if you're using those slower public chargers. And then I can slide the DCC all the way to comfort, and it is almost like a different car. So when you floor it, there's a bit more movement, very, very quick off the line acceleration. There's no launch control or things like that again, you might love a hot hatch to have. So there are bits that have been left out, which do make me think, is it really an EV hot hatch? I don't think so. There would need to be a few more bits. The best EV hot hatch I've driven to date is the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, but that is a €75,000 car, so you can only have 2 of these for one of them. This is also a brand new car, so the tyres are excellent on it. Would it be a little bit more tail happy in the wet in the winter? Perhaps it would be. It's very, very quick in a straight line. I think it looks great in this King's Red colour. And really for the day-to-day use versus something like a Golf R, again, I don't want to compare them because you can't, but will you still have a good bit of fun for a fraction of the running cost and the purchase cost? Yes. Yes, you will. I do wish there was some paddles or something to change the level of regen, because again, in a hot hatch on a twisty road, you might want to just manipulate that level of control a little bit, but squeeze that throttle, go into a tight bend, massive amounts of power. Again, that spongy VW Group brake pedal on their electric cars. I've no doubt the next generation will be better, but it's again, for this type of car with this type of speed, you want to kill off that speed quickly with your foot, and you can't do that. Actually, 2 levels of GTX models on sale. One is a little bit less. This has the highest level of spec. You get the usual 8-year, 160-kilometer warranty on the battery, and the software in the latest ID.3 is so much better than the ones that have gone before it. Unless you're going to go for the entry level and not put a single extra on it, then why wouldn't you get this? Because as soon as you start ticking boxes for seats or anything extra, you're getting closer and closer to the price of this car, and it has everything. That's why I think other versions of the ID.3 just don't make any sense anymore. You're getting a bigger battery, all that power, and all the toys with one price. While €39,000 is still a lot of money, I get it. Think of where this car started at, and think of all the extras you get packed in. You don't get a heap up as standards, that's about 1,200 quid. That really is the only thing you'd probably want to add, because everything else is as you see it. It's a pity it took so long to get the interior right and the GTX at this price. Something else you might want to consider is the Cupra Born VZ. It's ever so slightly better to drive, but in many other ways it is the same car. And the sales of ID.3 in the last sort of 5-6 months in Ireland have plummeted because the ID.4 is available for mid-30s. But when you look through the stats, only red colour versions have increased in sales. And I'm going to hedge some bets that that's probably down to this GTX version. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. You might consider liking and subscribing the channel and the video if you haven't already done so. I'll see you next time.